Compared to Sweden and Norway, Uruguay is very flat. People ask me, what do you miss? And I usually answer, I miss mountains. Life in Carmelo is very quiet, and I like that. It's bordering to boring, but that's fine. So am I. My favorite place in Uruguay is my home. I love waking up in the morning, in summer, mind you, and go to the chicken coop and watch the flowers while the chickens eat everything we plant. Something that surprised me about Uruguay is how warm people are, how happy they are to talk to you, even though you don't understand a single word. That doesn't bother them at all. What I don't love about Uruguay is the humid winters, cold, fairly dark, humid winters. Cost of living can be very high if you expect the same standard of living as in your home country, probably. And it can also be very cheap if you decide to live simpler, if you don't have a car, if you don't need to buy everything. Public healthcare in Uruguay is working surprisingly well. It's simple, but they take care of you in the ER very quickly at no cost, other than the taxes you pay. Before I moved here, I wish I'd known more Spanish. And I still wish I know more Spanish every single day.
I've always wanted to do this on one of these interviews, and I thought with somebody that owns a brewery, and I'm like, I don't have an excuse not to. What is that beer?
This is my take on an Italian Pilsner. It's like a German Pilsner, but
Mm,
it's dry hopped.
I think so. All right, well, cheers.
Cheers.
So let's jump in. Where are you and your family from? And when did you move to Uruguay?
Um, Different places. My wife is from Argentina, and I'm Swedish, and our kids were born in Norway because that's where we met. And yeah, we met at work. I got the position at the museum where she was working, and we became a couple really fast, just a few weeks. Because when she showed up in the office, I thought, oh, look at that, maybe. And apparently she thought the same. So it was really fast. And we immediately decided we're not going to have kids. And now we have two. And we agreed on many things, like Plan B, because both of us are biologists, botany, evolutionary biology. And so she worked at the Natural History Museum in Oslo, Norway. And I got the position there as well. And just when we became a couple, she asked me about Plan B. No, the other way around. I asked her about Plan B, and she described how she was going to open a small, what is it called, Airbnb or something like that on her father's land in Colonia here in Uruguay. And she described this with a small garden and all this slow living, beautiful, just work enough, not to make a lot of money, but just to keep herself alive.
And how long are
And I,
long ago are we talking about?
this was 2005 in January, and and I mean I just listened to her and said, well, that's my plan B too, but in southern Sweden. So we didn't need to discuss a lot actually. The only thing we had to decide was where. Would it be Sweden or Uruguay? And we sorted out that too really fast because when my contract ended in at the museum in October 2005, we went to Argentina to visit her parents, and I never been to this part of the world before, and yeah, I decided, yeah, sure, let's go. And we did. We had a fantastic road trip to northwestern Argentina, to Salta, Jujuy, and Catamarca, extremely beautiful areas. And then we had a couple of weeks left, and she asked me, do you want to go to Uruguay to have a look at Uruguay?" Yeah, okay. I mean, I didn't really expect anything,
Another
but
stamp
it
in your
was,
passport.
yeah, basically. And it
Yeah.
was pure magic when I got off the boat. Because this was 2005 when they still had this slow boat. It took 4 hours to cross. Now you cross in an hour or hour and 15 minutes. And we were sitting on the deck just seeing Buenos Aires disappearing in the horizon, and then we got off in Colonia, and it was pure magic. My shoulders relaxed, and I started to breathe more profoundly. So, it was love at first sight, truly. And that was just reinforced for the 1 or 2 weeks we stayed in Uruguay and traveled around a bit. And on the boat back, I told her, if you ever want to move back to South America, I can live here. I will never ever live in Argentina, but here, definitely. So a year or two later, in 2006 or seven, she went back in middle of the winter in July and went scouting for a place to buy. And she found this. I mean, 2 weeks to buy and find and buy a place that was ridiculous. But she did it. And she called me almost every evening crying because it was horrible with
Why?
all the stress and the money. I mean, it was a big step. We'd been together for a year or maybe two, and we were already planning retirement. So, and I was 40 at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so how much land did you buy?
42 hectares. And most of it, I mean, now it's all monte, this bushland or what to call it. A third
Native.
is native forest, and the rest is primary native forest. Came up when the cows stopped grazing.
Sorry to jump in. You may be watching this video because you're interested in moving to Uruguay. I've been living and writing about life here as a foreigner for the last 10 years. Find out more by going to guruguay.com. You're saying that it was a retirement plan, you were just 40 years old. So how long did it take you to get there? To actually permanently move to there to
Well,
live?
we were going to move in 2, 3 years for quite a few years. And then we realized, no, we actually have to set a date because we just postponing, saving money,
Right.
saving more money. And then we decided, no, this is it. And then we also, I mean, we had agreed no kids, no children from day one, basically. And then maybe if we move, maybe we can have kids. If we move to Uruguay, where, I mean, Norway is very consumer oriented, and we
Mm.
didn't really want to have kids in a society like that.
Hmm.
So we decided to move. We decided, okay, kids, and then it all happened really fast. So
And now you've got twins and they're 15, right?
twins, yeah, it was happy hour, two for the price of one.
I love that. It's great that you're still here. You're obviously serious about moving to Uruguay, in which case, do go and check out guruguay.com and hit the live button. So
Please.
going back to this part that you're saying, you're kind of like planning a retirement. You know that normally in Uruguay, I always tell foreigners, like, don't come unless you've got your income assured. And your situation was different. You bought land, you live off the grid. And in fact, when
Yeah,
you arrived, you were planning to be self-sufficient.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Did
mean,
that work out?
we no, no, the off-grid works, yes. I mean, we have electricity from solar panels, and we have our own well, and the pump is powered by solar, of course. Compost toilets and this another water system. But I mean, we take care of what we get rid of, basically. But food-wise, we were very naive. I mean, both biologists, we know plants, we know this, we can do this. But being a biologist is not the same as being a farmer. Biologists tend to kill plants to study them. Farmers tend to grow plants. And that was a big difference. So
Mm.
no, I mean, we would survive, but it wouldn't be a lot of fun.
Mm.
We don't buy onions, we don't buy garlic, and we eat a lot of onions and garlic. Um, Green stuff, kale, what else? Grow some beans, lots of tomatoes, potatoes, and sweet potatoes, a lot of sweet potatoes. And we could grow a lot of pumpkin and stuff, but one in the family doesn't like that, so we don't grow that anymore. I don't like it.
And you
And
guys are
I'm the
vegetarians, right?
yeah, that
Mm.
too. Yeah. Yeah, and then we have some chickens because we eat eggs. And I mean, living like we do changes your perspective a bit. So
Tell me a bit about
I've
that.
been a vegetarian for more than 30 years. And now that we have chickens, we eat the eggs, and maybe instead of just wait for the chickens to die, maybe we should eat them. I mean, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I went to a neighbor, a friend, who showed me how to you say to kill them and prepare them. So I mean, I'm still a vegetarian, but I mean, if it comes to that, I would of course eat meat, and it would probably make sense living the way we live as well. Because
Hmm.
here, I mean, in Uruguay, you don't have those processed food things that you have in Norway, or Sweden, or elsewhere in the world. There is no corn. I mean, if you want to buy tofu, you can do that, but it's not really readily available. So we buy gluten to make seitan and those things, but mainly the proteins come from beans and lentils and chickpeas, and
Which
we
you have
could
to
grow
buy.
that. Yeah, we can grow it,
Oh, you
but it's a
do?
lot of work. Yeah, we
Uh-huh.
we grow a little bit, or we grew, I should say, because now nobody wants to harvest. We can harvest, but no one wants to peel them.
In your
To
family.
yes,
Oh my God, the little net.
yes. No,
Do you
no, we
mind if
tried.
I ask
Yeah.
how you make ends meet?
So I said we were saving up a lot of money before we decided to move, and we postponed and postponed and postponed. So that made us save quite a bit of money. So we've basically lived on savings for 11 years. Yes. We
So
live cheap.
I was going to say you live frugally. Yeah.
Yes. No, I
Hmm.
mean we are happy. We live the way we want. I wouldn't change. If I had a lot more money, I would probably buy more motorcycles, but I wouldn't live differently. Yeah, it's a bit I only have two motorcycles here and two in Sweden, and I can't bring the Swedish bikes. So I would buy more motorcycles. I would do that. But for the rest, nothing. So I mean, we live fine. The trick is we don't have any debt. We don't pay any rents. We don't have any utility bills, those things. We have a car. We have a pickup car because we're still constructing, so we need to move material. And yeah, that's basically the main cost, especially now when fuel is, what is it, a little bit more than 90 pesos per liter
Mm. So over
gasoline, which
$2
is
a liter. Yeah.
almost 250.
Do you know how much it costs you to have and run a car? In a year or?
My wife knows. It's her car. I'm a motorcycle guy. No,
Hmm.
I think, say, I know the patente, the road tax is quite high for this car. Say, what can it be? $400 or $500 a year, something like that. For an old car, I mean, that's a bit of money, I think.
Mm.
And then insurance is another 400 or 500, I guess. So having a car is expensive. It's very expensive to buy a car, and
Mm.
it's quite expensive to have it. You can buy a small car, and then it's cheaper to
Yeah, but
own it. But
there's no cheap secondhand market like there is
no, no, no.
in
I mean,
Europe or the States.
that's no, no, no. That's something that is interesting here because the second-hand market is not cheap.
Mm.
It's almost like buying a new thing.
That's true. That's true.
And and
And
and that's true for everything.
If you'd like to learn more about whether Uruguay is a great fit for you, you might want to visit guruguay.com and hit consultations.
and you live just outside of Carmelo, like 10
Mhm.
minutes, right?
Yeah,
Um,
by car, 10, 15, something like that. Yeah.
and by bike,
35 minutes
which is
if
what
there's no wind.
your mode of transport. How would you, if you describe Carmelo to people, how do you describe it?
It's a small town. 18,000 people live here. If you go up the coast along the river, you have some really nice vineyards, olive plantations, things like that. The surroundings are farmland, basically. So,
And I guess you go into Carmelo because you use the public system in Uruguay, right?
yeah,
You use the healthcare
yes.
system, the school system, etc. Can we talk about public health?
We can talk about that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, in Uruguay, you either join the public health system or you pay for private. And when you start a company, as I did with the brewery, you can choose. You pay the same, but I actually choose to stay with the public system. And my wife did the same because her job as an English teacher would give her access to the private system. But I like the public system. It's it's very personal. I as everywhere in Uruguay, people see you. They talk to you. It's not impersonal as it used to be in Norway. You can't joke with the people at the hospital in Norway. They're too stressed. And here they treat you as some not a friend, but at least someone they can see. And I really appreciate that. And another advantage, of course, is the public healthcare is free. I don't pay except for the social, what is it called? The social security I pay through the brewery. I don't pay anything at all to go to the hospital. I don't pay for medicine. I don't pay for going to the dentist, although I use, when I need to go to the dentist, I go to a private one because I know him. And I think I mean, I've only used the emergency room, for example, when I did a stupid thing with my circular saw. And so hasn't been anything serious, just basic stuff. So I don't know if there will be a big difference between private and public, between the private and public system if you have something that needs special attention, you need a specialist. I mean, anything like that. I honestly don't know. We've been living here for 11 years and we haven't needed anything like that.
Right, right. And emergency care, have you ever needed that?
Yeah, a few times when I'm stupid with the tools or
Mm-hmm. And the kids?
when the kids do interesting things. So yeah, I mean, there's no waiting time at all here. 30 minutes in the emergency.
Mm.
And I
So
think it's important to remember that compared to Sweden, where people actually die waiting in the emergency room, that happens not often, but once a year, once every second year, every two
I,
years.
I hear
But
you.
here, I never waited more than half an hour here.
And when you go, how does it look? Because often one thing that, you know, you hear is that in the public system, it lacks the kind of tender loving care. Maybe
Yes,
it's a little run
everything is
down looking,
yeah, everything is run down, but it's clean. Run down, but clean.
and it has
And
supplies, and the
yeah,
doctors are trained.
yeah. I mean, at least here in Carmelo, the doctors go to both of the hospitals, to the private Camok and ASE, the public system. Same doctors.
That's typical, isn't it?
I mean, they they work two places.
Yeah, yeah, that's very
Like
typical.
like a lot of Uruguayans do, actually. They have more than one job.
Yeah, no, and that's very
Mm.
typical in Montevideo as well. Thanks for that. That's super helpful. Tell me about your kids and their education, because people always want to know about that.
Yeah. Again, I mean, they now they go to high school, I guess it's called in English, Liceo,
Hmm?
high school.
Yeah,
And that's public. No private alternatives here. And when they started school, they went to public school. But and I liked it. It was a full day school. They started at 10 and had a lot of activities and finished at 5, which suited us really well. Um, but it was quite noisy and I mean some fairly innocent fighting and so on. No bullying, not not that my kids were involved in, at least, or targeted by. But it was noisy, and the kids started to complain, and also with being vegetarians, it became difficult because we sent lunch with them, and the new director didn't want that. And apparently it is actually illegal to do it because they provide lunch in school, so you have to eat that. But that had been fine up until that moment. And then they used to remove the meat part from the food, and that's not how you feed kids growing. I mean, they need proteins. So then we decided, as my wife is working as an English teacher at the private school here, I think it's the only private school in Carmelo, we decided to put them there. And I
Mhm.
don't know, honestly, I don't know if it's much better. Now we just comparing two specific schools, and I don't know if it's better.
When
The
you
one
say
thing that
that, what are you talking about? The standard of the education? How would you say the standard of the education is or has been?
I have no idea. I mean,
As a
no, I mean,
concerned parent.
no. I mean, I know what it is like here, but I can't compare it to other schools or other countries.
Yeah, no, I'm
Uh,
interested in what
I,
you feel about there.
I think it's horrible in
Hmm.
general.
Hmm.
But then I have a friend, a Swedish friend, who is very involved in the educational system in Sweden. And he told me it doesn't matter what school your kids go to, you educate them. They learn some basic stuff in school. But you as parents, you are the ones who educate your children. Don't forget that. So, and that took away a lot of my worries. So my kids, they have very, very good grades, but I always tell them it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's good to have grades, but it doesn't matter.
When you
And
say it's horrible, what are you thinking of when you say that?
no, noisy. I mean, kids, they can't sit and be quiet for that long time. And my wife always says, "Well, this is nothing. I mean, now they are quiet. Lots of running around and screaming, very little peace." But I
Mm.
mean, it has been the same in all of the schools my kids have been to. And I have
Hmm.
friends in Sweden who are teachers, and they say the same.
Mm.
So, and that's why I say it's horrible. They simply don't give. I mean, this is more a criticism of the system, I guess. But I think we need to pay more attention to the children's needs, not what we expect from them.
Yeah, I hear you. It's interesting to hear you say that. A friend of mine that has her kids in public primary school in Montevideo told me about how her son had been triggered when he lived in the States in very loud classrooms,
Mm.
and that symptom had never appeared in his time in the last couple of years in school in
Oh.
Montevideo,
Mm.
because there are 25 kids and they're all very well behaved. But that's interesting. You're out in the countryside, in an urban area in the countryside, a small town. You'd expect there to be more peace in the classroom, wouldn't you?
Well, so that's the thing. There is no violence. They bully each other in different ways, but there is no serious violence. And I think that's the calm you find in the countryside. People know each other too well to do any serious harm, I think. But it won't stop them from misbehaving in school.
What do your kids say about the school? Do they like it?
They, I mean, now they go to high school at night because they're going to Sweden for half a year for one semester. So in order not to have to start all over again with high school, they have to study the first year in one semester. So they are doing
Like a double
a
shift,
double, yes. So they go at night, which
as
is
well as during the
nights.
day?
No, not at night. Not no, only night between
Okay.
7 and 11. And they love it because they go with adults. They are the youngest.
And they're
And yeah.
going from
And
7
they,
till 11. I can see all the viewers going,
yeah, I mean, to me, it's horrible. I mean, it's ruining my work schedule completely. Because they come home at I mean, say at midnight basically, because they take the bus, and as their evil parents don't pick them up, they have to bike from the bus stop, and that's 4 kilometers.
at 11 o'clock at night
Yeah,
on a dark road in the
on a
countryside.
dark road. No, but we bought them nice bike lamps.
Reflective jackets and things. Before
Yeah.
I make you feel guilty.
No, but the thing is, there's no traffic. There's no traffic. It's a small dirt road leading to our house. So there's no, and if it's windy or rainy or too cold, of course I pick them up.
Yeah.
But the general idea is they take the bus and bike home.
So they're
So,
doing a
but when
night
they,
school that for adults that haven't graduated yet, they're doing a
yes,
night school that's
yeah.
more intensive. And that's
So
allowed.
they,
That's fantastic.
yeah, it is.
Mm.
So I mean, normally they won't let kids that age attend those night shifts, but because we explained that they didn't want to skip a year entirely, they wanted to continue with their friends when they get back. They said, fine, we put them in night school. And they have to pass some exams. They study at home, and it will probably work out fine. And they are so happy with their adult new friends. So,
That's fantastic. Okay, so
mhm.
you opened a small craft brewery. That's where you're
I
sitting
did.
right now, called
Yes.
Birra Pasto Azul.
Yeah.
So that's in the center of Carmelo. Was this part, like for the sustainability of the family? Tell me a bit about that.
The beer is, I mean, when we finally decided we're moving in 2015, I realized that beer in Uruguay is horrible. And that was based on previous visits. So I decided I need to
That's
know,
right. In
I need to learn.
2015, that's very true. That was at that point, there were a handful of
Yeah,
craft
very
breweries.
few, very few.
Yes, yes. And now
And so
there
I
are
decided
hundreds.
but
Mm.
in 2014 I decided I need to learn how to make beer, which by the way is very popular in Norway. So it wasn't difficult. So I started to make beer at home. Then I continued to make beer here. And because I I like beer very much, I try to improve it all the time. And because I'm a biologist, I understand the fermentation process a little bit better than most people, I guess. And the fermentation is what really gets me going. So, and the thing, opening a brewery, I'm very lazy. No, I shouldn't say lazy. I work a lot, but I find it very hard to have fixed hours. And
Mm.
I'm a really, really bad salesperson.
That happens a lot
So
with people that are passionate about things.
yeah. And I can't handle administration at all. So I never really wanted to have a brewery because it's also difficult to open a business in Uruguay with my very limited Spanish at that time. So the reason after after 7 years or so without speaking much Spanish here, I started to learn Spanish more was because of the brewery, because I needed to get things going. When I decided, yes, I might open a brewery because we have a friend who had this place in Carmelo, and she said, "No, I'll fix it for you. You make the beer, and I'll fix the place." So I don't pay any rent.
So, opening a business in Uruguay, how's that been? Tell me about
Mhm.
some of the pros and cons.
Oh, that has been wonderful, wonderful.
We're supposed to be honest here.
No, it's very easy to open a company. You just go to this BPS, the Social Security Office, and say, I want to open a company. And then you pay them $150 a month and you have your company. So that part is quite easy. But then when you start selling things, you also need to pay taxes, and that's more complicated. So, in particular, in my case, I have a small company with what is it called? it's a simplified VAT system, so I don't need to bother about the VAT at all. I pay a fixed sum every month, and that's it. It's really simple once you have it in place. But as I have a brewery, I also need to pay another tax called IMESI, which is something you pay for alcohol, cars, motorcycles, fuel, I guess, and a handful of more things. And I don't understand how it works. Fortunately, we just started selling beer now, so they probably won't chase after me yet. But I know nobody, not even the people at the tax office here, can explain to me how it works, this IMESI thing. So I need to find an accountant who is familiar with craft brewery and just hire them. Hire one
Well,
of
maybe
those.
we'll have somebody watching the office that gets in
Yeah,
contact with you now. I
yeah.
can help you. I'll see if I can find out something for you.
Yeah, yeah. So I would prefer not to hire more people to run it, as we make very little money from this. The whole business idea is to have small costs, and so I don't have to work so much.
And so is it, would you say that it's something that's just really kind of like a passion project at the moment, or does it really help in this, in your, your economy?
I mean, we have made a little bit of money, definitely. I mean, if we open properly, I could easily make more money than my wife is doing teaching part-time. And and the plan is to make sure all the paperwork is in place and figure out how to pay taxes. And then when spring comes, we're going to open properly. And that, I mean, it's just a small brew pub. Maybe we can seat up to 20 people at the same time. But opening Wednesdays, Fridays, maybe Saturdays. The thing is, I don't want to make a lot of money. I don't want to work a lot because I want to stay at home. I
Well,
like
that
being
was
at
the whole
home.
motivation, right?
Exactly.
You didn't tell us about your home, actually. Do you want to share a little bit? Because your home is,
Yeah. So I when we moved here, we moved into a container house. That was we ordered. We actually, this is super stupid. We ordered and paid partly for it when we were still in Norway. And if anyone is considering doing the same, do not pay anything in advance and wait with ordering until you're in Uruguay. It will
and
take
why
a
is
little bit
that?
longer time because I heard so many people being cheated. They pay and nothing shows up. And you're new in this country, you probably don't speak very good Spanish. You don't have a chance. But we were lucky. We actually got the container house, but it was really crappy quality. So now, together with my wife's cousin, we're actually going to start fix it again. But we need to tear out everything and start from the basic skeleton. But we lived in that for 6, 7 years, maybe, in container house. Poorly, very poorly insulated. One morning, one winter morning, we had 6 degrees indoors. That was very cold. I mean, I'm fine with that, but it really felt bad to put the kids through it. Wake them up for school, and it's 6 degrees. That's not nice.
Yeah.
Making them bike from the bus stand, that's nice because it's good for them. But 6 degrees in the morning, that's not good. So, but while we were living in that house, I was building a straw bale house. Look, I'll be drinking too.
Good, good. Thank you. Please, my reputation.
And my reputation as a beer drinker. So I've been building a straw bale house with earth plaster, mud plaster, and that's where we live in now since 3, 4 years. It's a very small house, but it works because we also have a lot of outdoor space. But that's a house I built myself, learning by doing, basically.
And there are lots of people, aren't there, involved in that kind of culture in
Oh,
Uruguay?
yes. Yeah. I mean, if you want to get involved, the only thing you need to do is find a workshop, and they will put you in this WhatsApp group, and then there's a never-ending stream of messages and offers to join other workshops, and And I mean, it's these natural building groups. You have organic food groups. There's a lot going on, but it's all in private WhatsApp groups mainly.
Right.
So you need to
Well,
be here, and you probably need to speak Spanish. This is something I come back to all the time because that's been a true handicap for me. Because my wife speaks Spanish, so I didn't need to. I mean, she speaks perfect Norwegian, perfect good English. There's no need for me to speak Spanish until I started with the brewery. So,
right.
but that also meant I was outside a lot of things.
Right. Well, so we'll put in the description, we'll put some links to some of these groups and
Yeah,
also a link to the brewery, your brewery as well, so that people can find you.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So coming up to starting to close, I would love to hear what irritates you about life in Uruguay.
Winter. Winter is by far the worst. It's my wife told me, she promised me that winter would be maximum 2 weeks. It's not true. It's not true. With a bit of bad luck, winter starts in May and ends in September. And it can be cold. The average winter temperature in Uruguay in Colonia is, what is it? I think it's 11 degrees or something, the average monthly temperature in July.
Hmm.
So, and you should also remember that winter here means you can have 25, 28 degrees a couple of days in July. It's wonderful. And this week, last week had been nice. Next week is going to be less nice, I guess. But so
And
when I
what I
complain
like
about
about the
winter,
winters is the fact that you have lots of really blue skies as well, right? And if you're in the
exactly.
sun and out of the wind, it can be really lovely.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I mean, we are very weather aware because of the solar panels. So, and if we're more than 3 cloudy days, properly cloudy or rainy, then I need to start a generator. And I do that a couple of times a year in winter. It's the weather is usually nice, I have to
Mhm.
say.
Okay.
Still
Any other?
winter, and I don't like winter.
Great. And so I'm sure that when you tell people locally that, you're from Scandinavia and you gave up a very comfortable life there for Uruguay, I mean, what do they say to you? What do you
They
say to
think
them?
they think I'm nuts, totally nuts. When I tell them how much money I made in Norway, and if they continue to, I'm not secretive about our savings. Now we're out of savings, so that's fine. But we have accomplished what we want to do. When I tell them how much money I made each month in Norway, they don't believe me. But I mean, associate professor in biology paid okay. It was good. And but no, they think I'm crazy giving up that.
What do you say to them to explain why you did it or why you choose to do that?
I mean, the main reason is it's a difficult one, but the world is changing. Whether we believe in climate change or not doesn't matter. The climate is changing. The energy situation is changing, and no one is denying how reliable we are on fossil fuels at the moment, and how difficult it is to give it up, and what the consequences will be when we give it up. And I think a society like the one we have in Scandinavia, Sweden, Norway, Europe in general, large part of the US, they are much more, or should I say, much less resilient to those changes than Uruguay. I mean, here we're used to there's no butter in the supermarket for a couple of days. No one is upset. It's just how things are sometimes. And we have people are used to, or they are not used to getting that much help from the government as they are in Norway and Sweden. So I've been worried a lot about what's going to happen when things go bad, as they are doing at the moment. I mean, people are extremely upset about the increasing fuel prices in Sweden, Norway. So much that because there's an election in Sweden in September, that the government is cutting the taxes a lot just to keep the fuel prices down. But that's not going to work because at the same time they're investing a lot of, or they want to borrow a lot of money to buy to basically buy weapons. I mean, that situation too is worrisome. And here, it's not like that. It's easier. And to me, that was the main reason I wanted to move.
So before we finish, Magnus, thanks so much. This has been I've never been
Thank you.
interviewed somebody from living in the west of Uruguay. So, and living rurally like yourself and off the grid. So it's been super interesting and useful. So I would ask you for one piece of advice that you would give to somebody that was thinking of moving to Uruguay, maybe in a similar situation to the one that you're living in.
Um, you need money. You need money to be able to buy land because now it's much more expensive than what it was in 2006, 7 when we bought it. So you will need money for that. And if you want to live like we do, you can't have loans. You can't have debt. And if you want to live like I do, you either have to marry a Spanish-speaking man or woman who is willing to deal with all the bureaucracy and horrible, tedious work that it is to sort out what is it called, the residency paperwork. So, I mean, I really recommend people to learn Spanish. And it's fine. You don't need to worry about Rio Platense Spanish. It's different. Some words are different. Pronunciation is different, but you will get it. It's not a big deal, honestly. So Spanish and bring some money because it's difficult to make money here, especially as an immigrant.
Yeah. And if you can, it's good to pay back into Uruguay, right? So that's a way of doing it as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right,
Mm.
Magnus, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.